Hey traders, checking in on the stock market today. Bulls were able to put a stop to the bleeding after a significant red day yesterday, but they're not proving it to us just yet. I'll go over what I need to see for the Bulls to prove a short-term shift in momentum. We've got 1 week until the election. Stay tuned.
Introducing the Chart Guy's Swing Report, a weekly digital publication that uses technical analysis to identify long-term market opportunities. Understand the market from a swing trade perspective. Follow institutional money as it rotates from sector to sector, and make the most of the Swing Report's weekly trade opportunities, with key entry and exit levels provided. Performance is tracked and updated weekly. For more information, visit us at chartguys.com. Now, let's check out some charts.
So we'll start it off with the short-term chart that is most important to me, the S&P 500 4-hour futures chart. We started the morning looking for that lower high because we bounced into the afternoon yesterday. It carried through overnight as the bulls held their bounce gains, but we had EMA 12 resistance. We had a ton of space to cover to try and break the lower highs. So lower high was the most likely scenario. It has now formed, and we're going to get two scenarios. Scenario number one is a bear break to a lower low and continued bear complete control. If that happens, 4-hour RSI will be oversold for the first time since this big bull move up, and that is when I get interested in oversold bounces. If you give me a 4-hour, hourly, 15-minute, 5-minute all oversold, I'm much more comfortable buying bounces, which is, again, one of my edges as a trader, than I am if only a couple of those time frames are oversold. So that's one scenario. Scenario number two is bulls hold the low, form a higher low, and I guess there's three scenarios, and change the trend. That would require a complete 180 from momentum right now. It's certainly possible, but scenario number three, hold the low and form an equilibrium and tighten up into the end of this week. So overnight's going to be a bit telling as to whether or not we can hold this support level, and this is our range. What does that range translate to on SPY? The low of 335.62 as key, which is approaching right now. It's about $1.40 away, and our resistance is the high pre-market 341.05. That's the range. Break that support. It's a daily inside bar bear break, and we would then look to the next level at 334.38. And again, the weekly consolidation would continue if the bearish action continues. We just had a reaction to Microsoft earnings, and it's a non-event at the moment. You can see here's the price action today. Here's our reaction settling in. Non-event at the moment. So we'll have to see what Thursday brings for the rest of the tech sector giants because Microsoft is not really giving us a whole lot. QQQ. So here's the hourly time frame on the Qs with extended hours on. Again, unable to break the high of yesterday. Topping out a little bit, and we'll look for a higher low compared to 276.76. The observation for today, yesterday, the first 20 minutes of trading, we had a scenario where the Qs were all bulls to start yesterday. And at that same point in time, the first red flag that we got was, okay, the Qs are having an ideal start to the morning. SPY is still very weak because the financial sector and the healthcare sector are at their lows. Today was the exact same thing, just instead of happening on a 20-minute window, it was on a 6-hour window for the entire trading day. The Qs were strong. They held control for most of the day for the bulls, and XLV and XLF were very weak, so SPY didn't really prove anything. We look at the 4-hour time frame. Let's look at the NASDAQ futures, and you can see we have a lot more space before that low of yesterday because the bulls held up a lot better today, but SPY is not that comfortable because of the exposure to XLF and XLV. IWM daily inside bar closing at the low of the day. If we break 157.38, there's a lack of support nearby. And IWM, essentially when I think of IWM, I think XLF and XLV. And when I think of SPY, I think of a mix of everything, but certainly more weighted towards the tech sector. So XLF is in free fall. There is no clear support in this range. We closed at the low of the day. After being the weakest sector yesterday, it was the weakest sector again today out of the major sectors that I care about. And this 2-week chart is going to be extremely important for the end of 2020 and the start of 2021 and what to anticipate for the entire market. And I will say that SPY is not going to hit an all-time high if this pattern breaks bearish. Right now, we're going to look for a 2-week higher low compared to 22.94. At this point in time, we are still 5% above that support level. But let's just say each candle is 2 weeks, and we got another 2 weeks here, and then we've got maybe 3 more candles after this one in the year. It's possible we tighten up into 2021, but we would expect to break really first thing in 2021. And again, this has to break bullish, in my opinion, if SPY is going to look for all-time highs. It's hard to imagine a scenario where this could break bearish and SPY could still hit all-time highs. I don't see it happening. The biggest difference for me in both SPY and QQQ is you look at this weekly time frame, we know we're in a tightening range. It's a standard equilibrium. If they break bearish, we zoom out and look for a monthly high or low. Tons of space on both those names, SPY and QQQ. If XLF breaks the 2-week time frame bearish, we don't zoom out and look for a monthly high or low. That's our monthly lower high being set, and we look back towards the COVID lows, set it again. We look back towards the lows for a higher low to form, but again, it's a very different standpoint to be coming from. So just want to highlight the importance that that 2-week equilibrium has to me, and it's been forming for months and months at this point. Healthcare, close at the low of the day. Yes, it's a daily inside bar. 105.57 is a double bottom short-term support that will be in play if we break bearish. And we'll zoom out because it's a standard weekly equilibrium. We got a little bit closer towards resistance than SPY or the Qs did, but pretty much the same weekly pattern, looking for a weekly higher low. Biotech sector. So a shift in momentum. We have a low. High of the bounce was 117.87. We held that low, and now we're trying to break that resistance. Bulls need follow through here, but you could call this a little trend change setting up if we can get a little bit of follow through. And it's a much different weekly candle forming here, staying healthy. And of course, the fact that we are coming off the all-time high, whereas most of the other sectors we're looking at are coming from lower highs on the weekly time frame. SPY's heading right down to this support right now. I'm still in my head short on SPY because bulls did not give me any reason to cover today. 335.62 approaching. Let's see if that's Microsoft or what. Qs are not happy with Microsoft. One more look here at the S&P 500 short-term futures RSI. Hourly would be back to oversold if that low comes into play again. It's going to be interesting overnight. Semiconductors, daily inside bar, but still weak. What stands out to me, lower high every single day the last 7 days. Hourly, still in the downtrend. So looking at it, low of yesterday, high of today, and watching for a higher low, anything over 177.87. Looking for a weekly higher low as 12-period EMA support is approaching, which has held the last few touches of consolidation. If we were to get to that weekly 12-period EMA with the daily chart still looking like this, and again, closing lower than we open, 10 out of 11 days in a row now, I would be interested in a play or starting to scout a bullish entry off of that EMA if we get there in a waterfall-like fashion. And I would call this daily time frame, not your standard straight drop waterfall, but when I say waterfall, I'm referring to a lack of stair steps down. We've been straight down since 189.09. TAN, so bullish reaction to FSLR earnings after hours, and TAN is responding. So we're at 70.62, which would put us still in a lower high pattern. Anything under 73.08 is just a lower high. At this point, it's a bear break with no follow through. Again, we're looking for a weekly higher low in solar as well. They have tons of space to be working with. And we'll see if the bulls are able to hold those gains from FSLR reaction during regular trading hours tomorrow when there's real volume at play. The VIX closed up near the high today. 33.80, 35.90, 38.30. Hourly uptrend remaining intact. Hourly EMA 12, a nice little guide short term. And it all depends on whether that 4-hour chart rolls over to lower lows or tightens up into Friday or Thursday. Dollar bouncing. It's a pretty notable short-term bounce here. 4 hour. I like the hourly. So anything under 93.13, just a lower high, and then we would look for a higher low. But again, it's a daily bear flag that the bulls are doing everything they can to try and negate. And if we can break the 93.13 double top, we will be on our way to negating that. Higher low every day the last 4 days. And bulls keeping from the bears taking over again. It's not a strong bounce at this point, but it is still a bounce. Have not topped out on the bounce yet. Gold trying to form a higher low. Again, I'm watching this tightening range. I don't care what gold or silver is doing as long as we are within this range. Break the range, I'll get interested again, but this could hold up into the election. And silver, same thing. Looking for the higher low. Tightening. Daily equilibrium. Miners bouncing today. We have not changed the hourly trend. We went straight from the low of the day. So we would have to pull back, form an hourly higher low compared to the low of today, and then break the high of today, tomorrow. If we're going to confirm the hourly trend change, from there we zoom out, and we look for a daily lower high, anything under 40.41. So still not positioned well comparative to metals, but if the metals don't break bearish from that tightening pattern, then the miners will recover a bit. If we do break bearish from that pattern on the metals, we're going to be looking right back at the low of consolidation, 37.08. Oil had a bounce day today. It's fastly falling, quickly falling. So this is all happening after hours. The last hour, big oil drop, dollar bounce, market drop. Curious what Bitcoin's doing. It's been strong all day. We'll look at that in just a moment. But oil, we're looking for an hourly higher low compared to 38.51. Then we'll look for a lower high compared to 39.83. Again, I watch for, does consolidation favor continuation with a brief pullback, or is the pullback significant enough to now be scouting for an equilibrium? And this is certainly big enough to be scouting for the equilibrium. And we got natural gas. Daily bull flag confirmed. A little bit of follow through. We were close to losing short-term momentum this morning, but bulls saved it. And again, the most important short-term level is 2785. The daily chart is in complete control of the bulls as long as that level is holding. $3 psychological resistance is in play. Bitcoin 15-minute tightening range. Holding on way better, but it is not immune to broader market weakness. Certainly confirming the daily bull flag makes it stand out in a big way versus the broader market. And still in a swing position with no signs of an exit just yet. So we'll see what tomorrow brings. Again, 4-hour time frame. We're either going to hold this low and tighten up into tomorrow morning, or we're going to see volume unleashed. We would have to see high bear volume if we're going to break that low of 33.64 on this test. I hope you are all well. I didn't do a whole lot of trading today. Didn't see a setup that I liked. And when daily inside bars are forming, we know there's less volatility. The shorter term time frames are choppier. And that is just not an active trading environment for me personally. Inside bars are the kind of day where I watch the first hour. And if I say we're going to form an inside bar, I close the computer and go do something else. So I appreciate you all watching, liking, subscribing, commenting, doing good things. And we'll see you tomorrow. Pretty sure this clan of finches, who are certainly new, but I think the sunflowers in the driveway got them populating the area. They were not here last year. They are everywhere. Every day is just a party.